guys, welcome to my reading wrap up for the month of January. I actually ended up reading 6 books this month. Can you believe it? 6 books. I think it's because the weather was cold and kind of cruddy. I mean, it's January, and so I had a lot of time to spend indoors, and I spent a lot of that time reading. So I read 6 books, and let me tell you about them. The first book that I read was You by Carolyn Kepnes. Obviously I watched the TV series first, and I found this at my library, and I decided that I would check it out and read it. I did thoroughly enjoy it. It's an interesting read. You get to be in the minds of a stalker and a seriously narcissistic kind of psychotic woman. And it's just interesting that the 2 main characters are kind of anti-heroes and you don't really root for them. So I found that very intriguing. And I gave this 4 stars. It wasn't quite 5 stars. It was very enjoyable. And I liked the book better than the series. But yeah, I mean, it probably could have been a little better, but I still enjoyed it. The next book I read was my book of the month pick for January, which was The Favorites by Lane Fargo. This is a debut novel. This is about a woman who's a champion figure skater, and it's about her drive and determination and all of the challenges and everything she has to go up against. And I really enjoyed this one as well. I read this pretty quickly, even though it's more than 400 pages. I gave this one a 4 stars as well, but I still found it very enjoyable, and I'm glad it was my book of the month to pick. It kind of had me happy to restart my gym membership again and get my daughter involved in her tumbling classes. So I don't know, it was kind of fun. I enjoyed it. And the 3rd book I read this month was a reread. I actually reread The Sisterhood of the Traveling Pants by Anne Brasher. And I think it was more out of nostalgia that I reread it. I thought I would really enjoy it because I really enjoyed it when I was in middle school. But as happens a lot, the things that you like when you're younger and a child don't necessarily translate when you're an adult. And I found a lot of things in here kind of cringy or troubling or just kind of icky. So I gave this 3 stars. I still like the characters and their development, and I love their friendship. I wish I had a sisterhood like that. But again, it's kind of cringy, some early 2000s stuff that probably wouldn't work well today, but I gave it a 3 stars. It was still enjoyable, and it's still nostalgia for me. I will still like it. The 4th book I read was one of my favorites for the month. It was Little Fires Everywhere by Celeste Ng. I gave this a 4 stars. It was just really, really enjoyable. The TV series was enjoyable as a rewatch too. I rewatched this series after I read this, and yeah, they're both really great. Again, I guess I like stories where we get into the minds of the characters and know their motivations for things and everything like that. It's really a great work of fiction. It's just beautifully written, and you feel like, that's what I really like about these stories, you feel like you're immersed in this world and you're a part of every bit of it. There were parts of it that was uncomfortable to read, and maybe sad, but yeah, I still really enjoyed it. I gave this a 4 stars. It wasn't quite a 5 stars. I gave this 4 stars, but yeah, I highly recommend this book, and I highly recommend the TV series. It was magnificent. The fifth book I read was a quick one. It was Joyland by Stephen King. This was one that was set in the summer in an amusement park, about this boy who is trying to get over a heartbreak, and he works at this amusement park, and then something sinister happened there many years ago, and he solves the mystery of it. And I like this concept that Stephen King didn't just do another horror book, but I really enjoy Stephen King's horror, so reading this, it kind of wasn't that scary for me, and I like to be scared when I'm reading a Stephen King book. And so it was enjoyable. I like the characters and I like the setting, but I only gave it 3 stars because when I read Stephen King, for some reason I want to read a horror, I want to be scared or thrilled or suspense. I want to be in suspense. But no, really, it was a good book, just, I don't know. When I read Stephen King, I want to read horror. What can I say? But 3 stars. And the last book that I just finished today was The Female Persuasion by Meg Wolitzer. This was my first 5-star book of the year, and I read it in January, and so I'm so happy. I love when I read a 5-star book right off the bat. And I was getting kind of worried because I read 5 books that weren't 5 stars for me. I'm like, well, maybe it's not going to happen this month, but it happened. Oh, she's just a wonderful storyteller. I read The Interstings a couple years back, and I really enjoyed that. So anytime I see Meg Wolitzer, I'm probably going to grab her book. I knew I would like this. They reference this book, well, not this book particular, but the author and you. And so I thought of her. I'm like, I remember her. And then another YouTube star mentioned her, and so I had to read her again. And I'm glad I did. It's about power and femininity and struggles and strength and courage and growing up in your 20s and your 30s and not knowing what you're going to do with your life and, kind of figuring out who you are. It's just beautiful, and I just really love it. So, yeah, I gave it a 5 stars. And that was all my January reads. I do want to make a quick point about my February reads. So it is Black History Month. I do have 3 books that are by Black authors or about Black history. So I do have 3 of those books picked out, plus a Book of the Month book. So that's 4 books for the month of February. I think that's about all I'm going to be able to read because February is a short month. So I won't be doing my TBR jar this month, but just wanted to give you a heads up about what's coming in upcoming. So I appreciate it if you listen to my video. I appreciate any kind of support. So if you could like or comment or share, I would really appreciate it. So thank you. Bye.